Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. I am so glad you're joining me today. We're going to go on a really fascinating exploration of the three main paths we take to understand the world around us. Honestly, you can kind of think of this as a user's manual for reality. Because whether you realize it or not, every single day you're acting like an investigator. You're trying to make sense of your environment, your friends, even your own mind. So today we're going to look closely at the foundations of human and natural inquiry and discover the organized ways that scholars and scientists try to answer the universe's absolute biggest questions.
But first, I want you to just pause for a second. Think about this. How do we actually understand our world? Like, how do humans figure out the answers to life's biggest, most complex mysteries? It's a massive question, isn't it? When we want to know why it rains, or, I don't know, why we get into arguments with our siblings, or even why a certain song makes us want to cry, we don't just guess. We use very specific tools and perspectives to find the truth. And here is our map for today's journey. As you can see, we'll start with the quest for knowledge, then look through the lenses of natural science, social science, and the humanities. After that, we'll contrast the three disciplines and finally wrap the whole thing up with one big shared similarity.
All right, part one, the quest for knowledge. Understanding our world really begins the exact moment you wake up on a Saturday morning. You walk down the hallway, and maybe you wonder how electricity powers your lights. Then you go to the kitchen and wonder why your family argues about whose turn it is to do the chores. Later, you look at a painting on the wall and wonder why art makes you feel so deeply. To answer these very different types of questions, well, we need very different methods. Which brings us to our first method in part two, natural science, where we study nature. Putting on this lens is literally like putting on safety goggles to look at the physical universe. In our household analogy, it's like looking closely at the plumbing or the electrical wiring of your house. By definition, natural science is the study of the natural world, physical processes, and living organisms. The main goal here? It's to discover universal, unbreakable physical laws. Think about gravity. If you drop an apple in your kitchen, it falls to the floor, right? It totally doesn't matter if you drop it today, tomorrow, or in a completely different country. That physical law remains exactly the same every single time.
Now, this field covers awesome subjects like biology, chemistry, physics, earth science, and astronomy. But for our everyday example, let's just focus specifically on biology, the study of living organisms. So, imagine you have a houseplant sitting in your window, and you notice its leaves slowly turning toward the sunlight. Right there, you are observing biology in action. You're seeing a physical, biological process happen right in front of your eyes.
So the absolute crucial point here is that natural scientists are always asking, how does nature work? What causes natural phenomena? They want those hard, physical explanations. And by finding these answers through experiments and lab research, natural science helps us solve real-world, critical problems in health and technology. It's literally how we invent medicines and build computers.
Okay, moving right along to part three, social science, where we study society. We're now shifting our focus entirely away from the physical universe and looking straight at human behavior. Back to our household analogy, this is kind of like stepping out of the kitchen and sitting down at the family dinner table just to observe how everyone interacts. Social science is the study of human society, relationships, behavior, and institutions. Now, unlike the unbreakable physical law of a falling apple, human behavior isn't always identical. If you announce a brand new short chart at that dinner table, your family's reaction might be totally different today than it was a year ago, right? The results here vary a lot depending on culture, time, and the social environment.
The subjects under this umbrella include sociology, economics, political science, psychology, and anthropology. Let's isolate sociology as our key example for a second. Sociology focuses on how people behave and organize as members of a society. Think about how your friend group at school naturally forms unwritten rules about, say, where you sit at lunch or what games you play. Believe it or not, that is sociology happening right there in your school cafeteria.
Social scientists are just deeply, deeply concerned with how people behave in organized society. To figure this out, they use things like surveys, interviews, and real-world observations. Finding the answers to these behavioral patterns is super important because it helps us understand big social issues, and ultimately, it helps us build better, fairer communities for everyone.
All right, on to part four, humanities, finding human meaning. This field looks incredibly deeply into our inner world and our collective creativity.
So, if natural science is the kitchen plumbing,
and social science is the dynamic at the family dinner table, well, the humanities are the old family photo albums, the secret diaries in your drawer, and the drawings pinned to the refrigerator. It's the study of human culture, ideas, values, creativity, and experiences. What's absolutely vital to note here is that this discipline focuses heavily on interpreting ideas and human expressions rather than, testing physical laws or analyzing statistics. It's really all about the meaning we assign to our lives.
This area encompasses history, literature, philosophy, languages, and the arts. Let's highlight history as our specific example. See, when we study history, we aren't just memorizing boring dates. We are critically analyzing human experiences of the past. Whenever you ask your grandparents to tell you a story about when they were young, you are actually engaging in historical analysis to understand your family's culture and values. How cool is that?
And that leads directly to the profound, truly ancient question at the very heart of this field. What does it mean to be human? How do people express their ideas? The humanities give us the incredible tools of reading, critical analysis, and interpretation to understand our culture, our deepest values, and honestly, our own personal identity.
Section 5 already, contrasting the three disciplines. Let's take a step back and clearly see how their main goals and tools actually differ from one another.
When we line these up side by side, it's pretty neat to see how their different methods perfectly match their specific focuses. Natural science focuses on nature and the physical universe, right? So it uses precise experiments, measurements, and lab testing. Social science focuses on humans as members of society, so it naturally relies on surveys, interviews, and case studies to track that behavior. And finally, the humanities focus on human thoughts and expressions, so they rely on reading, interpretation, and critical analysis. Three very different focuses require three very different sets of tools.
This gives us a really core contrast in the type of knowledge they produce. On one hand, we have universal, unchanging physical laws and explanations, like the strict laws of gravity or biology. But on the other hand, we have varying human behavior patterns and social meanings. The way we humans act, create, and feel is so fluid, it changes across time, across the world, and even across the dinner table.
And finally, Section 6. One big shared similarity. Because after discussing all of these differences, from boiling water in the kitchen to analyzing poetry in the living room, I actually have a bit of a twist for you. Despite all of these differences, these three disciplines actually share a super powerful common ground.
And here is that core similarity. All three use systematic methods to gain knowledge and help humans improve life. That's the key. Whether you're a biologist looking into a microscope, a sociologist interviewing people in a neighborhood, or a historian reading a dusty diary from the 1800s, you share a commitment to making the world better. You are all studying important aspects of the world to help humans understand and improve life.
And you know what? They all follow the exact same organized path to get there. Collect information, analyze evidence, and develop explanations. It just proves how organized and united this whole human quest for knowledge really is. No matter the lens, the goal is literally always to gather the facts, look at them really closely, and then explain what they mean for the rest of us.
So I want to leave you with this final thought-provoking question. Which of these three fields will you use to understand your own life? Are you going to look to the natural sciences to understand the physical world around you? Will you turn to the social sciences to understand your community and your relationships? Or will you explore the humanities to find meaning and understand your deepest values? The beautiful truth here is you can use all three. Thank you so much for hanging out with me in this explainer today, and hey, keep asking those big questions.